Hello, good afternoon everyone. I'm Blake with Center 5 Outdoors, and today I want to talk a little bit about what the ASA Competitive Archery 3D circuit is all about, as well as what you can expect for going to your first event in a national event. First, I guess let me start with what is 3D archery. That'll be easier if I just explain some basic definitions so we can make sure everybody's on the same page. 3D archery is a type of competitive archery. It's usually outdoors and range made up of foam animals ranging from all different types of sizes, styles, species, any kind of animal you can imagine. They've got a target with rings on it. And as far as the ASA is concerned, every year they select 20 specific targets, and they have their own style of scoring rings and all of that. We'll dive into all of the things that make the ASA in particular unique and, in my opinion, quite enjoyable to shoot. As I was preparing for my first event, my first national event this past year, I was a little discouraged with the amount of lack of general information just available about what to expect and how to prepare for a national tournament. And I am by nature a rule follower. I want to know all the rules, I want to know how to follow them, I don't want to break them, and I want to know what to expect before I get into something. So as I prepared and was looking around and not finding very much information, this made it very it was very anxious for me to trying to find out what to expect and how to prepare, and not really getting the information or the answers that I needed. I was able to ask some very helpful people on Facebook groups and things like that, basically of getting some basic and general questions answered. But still, the first shoot that I went to, which was in Appling, Georgia this past year, was very much a shot in the dark for me, and two of my friends went with me, Chris and Brad, who are also members of Center 5. We all went down there together. And to say that my shooting there was a disappointment would probably be an understatement. I shot very poorly compared to what my expectations were built up to, but I also learned so much, and going forward was able to put what I learned into practice and get my mind prepared for what to expect in the next event. We went to London, Kentucky then, and 2 months later went to that shoot, and my scores went up nearly 20 points across the 2-day event, and I really credit that to a little bit of extra practice in those 2 months so I didn't get embarrassed again, but also just being able to be comfortable with the shooting environment now that I knew what to expect. So what I'm hoping to do by these videos is to maybe take some of those question marks out for you. So now that I've dabbled a little bit about what the ASA is, I want to kind of break down what they do that might be different than other archery organizations out there. And again, this might get a little bit muddy if you're not familiar with the other organizations that are in the 3D archery world. But the main two are the IBO and the ASA. What makes them kind of different in their own way is one, they both have two different types of scoring, and the IBO currently does not have a known yardage class. Known yardage, meaning, as the name would suggest, would be that the shooter knows the yardage before they take their shot. The ASA has classes that are both known and unknown, and the IBO currently is only unknown. The IBO scoring rings are a 5 for the body, an 8 for the next ring in, which would be the insert line or the vital core area. Then they have a 10 ring, which it varies depending on the size of the animal, but it's the next ring in. And then they have a center 11, which is the smallest and the most inner ring. For the ASA, they have 5 for the body, which is pretty much typical of any archery competition out there, and then 8 for the next line in, which is usually the core or the vital line. The ASA will have a 5-inch 10 ring, and then 3 smaller rings in that 10 ring at a diagonal, depending on which way the animal's facing. You'll have the rings either at a diagonal this way or a diagonal this way, and the lowest ring in the 10 ring and the highest ring in the 10 ring are both what are called the 12 rings. The center ring is just for ASA purposes only a 10 scored as a 10, excuse me. So we'll get more into depth as far as exactly how to score that, but that's your very elementary, just basic breakdown of what makes the ASA unique. So we'll do in following videos. I want to do a very specific and detailed class breakdown, and I want to be able to read the rules to you of what makes each class unique for the ASA and what stipulations you have to follow with your equipment and your style in order to qualify for those classes. But in general, you'll have a bare bow, a recurve, and traditional classes. Those will be more of basically what you would normally see, like with a recurve or with a long bow or a bare bow of some sort. And each of those have their own specific rules about what classify that. Then you'll have the hunter class, which should be using a similar setup to what you might see in a hunting bow. And then you have the open class, which is basically anything to make you be able to see the target better and hold on the target better, or anything that disqualifies you from those other two general classes. So that's kind of, like I said, that's your basic breakdown of what those classes are, and we will get into a very in-depth breakdown of each class here shortly. With this video series, we're going to focus on the national pro-am events that the ASA itself actually hosts, and every year those locations can change and do change from time to time. For the coming year 2020, they're going to have 6 total events, and they'll be in Foley, Alabama, in Fort Benning, Georgia, in Paris, Texas, London, Kentucky, and Metropolis, Illinois, and then the Classic, which is the last shoot of the year, will be held in Coleman, Alabama. So as you can see, they have a large area that they cover with the shoots, all the way from Texas to Illinois down to Alabama, and they attract crowds from all over the country. And I hope you stick around, check out the next couple of videos, because we're going to break down each class. We're going to break down the rules, and we're going to show you some gear and what to expect and maybe what to take with you so you can make your first ASA as enjoyable and as productive and efficient for you as possible. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.